You're listening to Turi Writer's She Said What podcast. I'm Turi, along with Marcy Persky. In this installment, I'm planning a trip to Canada, but I'm not a very efficient packer. Marcy has some good advice from her youth about what to do and what not to do on both sides of the border. We're trying to get out of town to Toronto, and I'm confronted with the fact that my memory is still crappy. I didn't wake up one day with great memory. So I'm living in fear. It's very anxiety producing going on vacation. I know you know.
Oh, yes. I'm the queen of anxiety. I'm the queen of angst and anxiety.
And my technique is, as soon as I think of something now, I run to do it and throw it in a pile.
There you go.
Yeah,
I pack 3 weeks in advance, and then I have to pull out clothes from a suitcase to wear before we go on vacation.
Like you have a shortage of clothes.
True.
I have a giant pile in my room that is composed of variously clothing, snacks that cannot be gotten by the small cutie in Canada, things that he forgot here, things I think he should have there, like thank you notes, and he requested the mirror from his bed. It's all a pile, and somewhere buried in there is my passport, and the rabies tag for the dog is on her neck, and the document for it is somewhere in that pile. So the packing will consist of actually sorting through the pile.
Are you driving?
We are. That's why we're bringing
how
all
long
this
of a
crap.
drive is that for you?
It's not that far. It's like Detroit is halfway, so it's like 10 hours. It's not too bad.
I think I told you I spent a lot of time in Toronto when I was in college. We would go just to buy beer. I mean, we'd go up to Sault Ste. Marie, cross over to Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, buy a bunch of Moosehead, and come back across the bridge. We would go to Toronto for the weekend. And the first time we went, we didn't arrange for any place to stay ahead of time. So we went and found a hostel, which for people who don't know, a hostel is usually a place with just a lot of bunk beds or a lot of beds, and it's very cheap, and you sleep there and you get up in the morning and you leave.
Yeah.
Well, this hostel turned out to be a halfway house.
It's coming back to me now.
Women that got out of prison.
It's coming back to me now.
They let us stay there for $3, and we didn't sleep all night. It was awful.
How did you find this hostel? It was before the internet, so it's not like you could look at the Yelp reviews.
Well, yeah. And then we came back with a cat in the glove box, which I think I told you about.
You did. You told me you smuggled a cat from Canada and it started crying in the glove box.
Yeah. The only time we actually got stopped coming over was because I had like 6 bottles of Russian vodka hidden in the back seat. They searched us very slowly, by the way. I mean, it was like they kept us about 5 hours just to be little snots. Poured it out in front of us and said, get the hell out of Canada.
Can I just tell you that one of the scariest border scenes I ever saw, I mean, we've all been bombarded now with the Texas border scenes and the people in the desert and people with sores and plague and every kind of ailment. And this should speak to the class that I come from here. I was interviewing for a job in Detroit, and they took me on a drive around to see where I would live if I took this job. And I think it was on the American side, pulled over to the side of the immigration and the INS, whatever they call it, the border guard plaza. What do they call that?
We call that border patrol.
Border control, right. Pulled over to the side of the border control plaza was what had once been a car. The border control had disassembled it piece by piece by piece.
Oh my gosh.
It was a pile of car parts that had once been somebody's vehicle that Border Control had for some reason decided they felt like taking apart. And the thing about that was they have no obligation to put it back together again.
Yeah, no, they don't. I remember back in the old days when you could just zip across and go buy your Moosehead and come back across. The guys that I went to school with would go to Windsor right across the border
Yeah.
to go to the strip clubs
Yes.
because they were fully naked and you could drink.
Yeah.
Whereas in the Detroit side, you they had to wear something, or there were no alcohol drinks around. So it was like it was big for bachelor parties.
I don't understand. I mean, this is a thing that has mystified me. What they had to wear was so tiny that it really made no difference. It was basically dental floss or pasties or little tiny, like you give your kid a smiley face sticker for their school notebook.
Yeah,
That's what they had to
star.
wear over their nipples. So unless you're completely fixated on nipples or whatever's under the dental floss that goes below, like what difference does it make if I were suddenly catapulted into my school or work or a crowd and all I had on were two smiley face stickers and a piece of shoelace, I still would feel naked.
I, I wouldn't do it.
I'm
So
just
I
asking,
can't
like
even.
saying, would you feel any less naked? Is my question. Because
Well,
to guys, that's not naked. But to us, holy cripes, that's completely nude.
yes,
Yes.
I agree with that. Somehow you went from your vacation to strip clubs, but that's okay.
Well, feel free to change the subject to something more G rated.
Remember my magic floor mop,
Your
whatever
ShamWow
that
thing?
thing was
Yeah.
that you press down and it swirls all over, and well, it broke.
Was it the first or second time you've used it?
Um, Maybe third. So so it broke. So guess what?
Sweat. You ordered a new one?
I have a different one coming tomorrow, and I'm so excited. And it's another one of those that I know nothing about, but it looked like it worked really good, and people said that it works good. And you, this one you put water in it, and it's got like these little pads underneath it, and the little pads swirl around, and it, I don't know, it's I- okay, for people who don't know, for our first time listener, I live in a cabin in the forest
On a mountain in the forest.
on a mountain at 7,000 feet with a house full of clay tile. It's Mexican clay tile, is what it's called. And it's impossible to clean, especially with four dogs, two cats, and a couple goats that like to wander in and out every now and then.
You make
So
it
to
sound so
me,
appealing. You make it sound so
I love it. It's
residential.
gorgeous.
Yes.
No, yeah, well, it's not residential. There's no neighbors.
No, no,
It's
your
really
house. You
quiet.
make it sound,
Oh,
actually,
yeah.
to be perfectly candid, you make it sound like you live in a barn. But go ahead.
Well, no, I don't. You've
No,
been
I
there.
know you don't, but I'm just saying it's a lovely cabin. And the fact that these animals are there is offset by the fact that it's truly a lovely cabin and has plenty of amenities that people would require.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. It- but I look at this floor and it always looks dirty, and I think it might be the color. It might be just having clay floors. I don't know. But ever since we've been here, it seems like every year I'm buying some new miracle magical cleaner that I expect is going to make these tiles look clean. And now I have the latest one coming. And it actually is a brand name this time.
Huh.
Okay. It's not Cuckoo Luku. I saw it on TV at 1 a.m. kind of thing.
But you
It's
did, right? You saw it on the TV at 1 a.m.?
no, no, I actually I Googled tile cleaners that work.
Huh.
And,
Not an impulse buy. Will wonders never cease?
and this one came up and it was on sale. So
Okay.
I'll let you know.
I want to know. I think I almost need to know.
And then speaking of other newfangled things that
Yeah.
are supposed to work,
Yes.
do you know what an AirTag is? An Apple AirTag? It's this little round button looking thing, and you connect it to your phone or your Apple Watch or
Or
whatever
your
you have.
goat.
Or you go, no, no, I actually connected it to Derp, my cat, the only
Right.
cat that freely roams.
Yes.
and who regularly loses his collars.
Right.
So I got him a new collar that says hooligan all over it. And then I attached this
Air
air
tag.
tag
Yeah.
that says in big black letters derp.
Uh-huh.
And I'm supposed to be able to track him from my phone.
And this
To
is
see
your
where he
idea
is.
of a day's activity then.
I want to know where he goes.
You've been telling me this. You told me you were ordering the AirTag like a month ago. It finally showed up, did it?
Well, no, it's been sitting for a month and I couldn't figure out how to hook it up.
Oh,
And so this morning, Eve finally got it to connect.
I see.
And he's very angry about it. We'll
Well,
see if
I
he
would be
comes home with
too.
it.
I mean, I don't want my family tracking me around everywhere I go. What if I tell them that I am going to the library and instead I'm going to the Indian bakery and eating 16 desserts?
Then you deserve to get busted.
No, it's my private life.
This cat left half a mouse on my front deck this morning and it just about gave me a heart attack. And it was the back end of the mouse.
It was a love
mouse's
offering.
head is missing.
Love offering.
Now, see, to me, it's like nightmare. A dead mouse is just as bad as a live one. And I started screaming and running around the property going till Frankie came out with a paper towel and picked it up and threw it in the garbage.
Well, what if he weren't home?
I'd still be out screaming in circles, yelling.
And we need to
You'd
put
be
an
wondering
AirTag
where
on
I
you.
am.
We need to put the AirTag on you. You run off screaming just because you saw a mouse. That's not.
I did read that people can use them to stalk people.
Well, yes, I've read that. But also what's true is that, for example, we know friends with someone in the household who has Alzheimer's and wanders.
Yeah.
And so they have a bracelet with a tracker on him, which is great because the other day, they turned their heads just for a minute and he was out the door and gone. So
Well, Derp has a tracker on him now. All I have to do is figure out how to track him. I've been sitting with my phone all morning.
See, I told you it's going to be a whole day activity for you.
Trying to figure out where exactly the tracker shows up on what.
Look at all the challenges we have. Suitcase packing, dead mouse disposal, high-tech floor mopping. I think there was supposed to be more to life than this.
Yes.
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 Assuming you've come this far because you enjoy the podcast, may we recommend my book, She Said What? A Life on the Air. It's available at your neighborhood bookstore or on Amazon. And if you're feeling especially generous, please leave the podcast a good review. Thanks.